Welcome to Aging in Style with me, Lori Williams. I'm an optimist by nature, and I believe you can follow your dreams at any age. My grandmother's journey with dementia ignited a passion in me to work with seniors. I've spent the past 13 years learning about seniors and aging. In my mid-50s, I followed my own dream and founded my company, where I use my expertise to help seniors locate housing and resources. On this podcast, we cover all aspects of aging. Join us each week to meet senior living experts and inspirational seniors who are following their dreams. The fact is, we're all aging, so why not do it in style? Hi, welcome back to Aging in Style with Lori Williams. I'm so glad you're here today, and I want to tell you what our topic is. It is assisted living communities. We have talked about different types of senior housing, including 55 plus apartments, independent living, memory care, residential care homes, but we have not yet talked about assisted living. So we are going to take care of that today. So what is an assisted living? So they are communities where a senior would move to when they have some care needs. So for example, they may have mobility issues or confined to a wheelchair and need help maybe with transferring to and from their bed to their wheelchair. They may have arthritis, heart disease, early dementia, Parkinson's. There's just all different types of health issues that it's just they're not able to live independently any longer, and they're needing that assistance. So people who move into assisted livings may get help with personal care, such as help with bathing or dressing, managing medications, anything like that. So when you move to an assisted living, what do they actually include? So apartments come in different sizes in assisted living. So you could either have a studio, a 1-bedroom, or a 2-bedroom. They have grab bars in the showers, wider doorways to accommodate wheelchairs or walkers. Apartments also offer kitchenettes, like a sink, microwave, and a refrigerator. Typically, they're not going to have, a full kitchen because meals are included, all 3 meals. Staff's available 24/7. They do medication management, help with, as I mentioned earlier, what we call ADLs or activities of daily living. And that would include bathing, dressing, maybe escorting, which is getting to and from their room, like from their apartment to the dining room or to the activities, if they need help with that. Incontinence care, transferring assistance. So, if they're too weak to get themselves out of their bed and into a wheelchair, they help with that. They also do have pendants or other types of alert systems. So if they fall or they need help and they need to have a caregiver come right away, they can press that. Housekeeping and laundry services included. As I said, 3 meals a day are included. Social activities like different classes, arts and craft projects, brain games, of course, bingo, dominoes, all those types of things. Entertainment, and a lot of times they'll have live entertainment come in to perform, do music and things for them. They even do outings, a lot to choose from. Exercise classes, transportation to and from doctor's appointments, and they're even pet friendly. So, of course, there's, restrictions on breed and size of the animal, but they can bring a pet. If they are no longer able to care for the pet, most will offer assistance with the care, but that is an additional fee. And of course, it's, case by case. I always remembered when I worked in an assisted living, there was a just sweet lady who lived there, and she had the cutest little poodle. And I can't think of the poodle's name right now. It's going to come to me when I finish the podcast, but he was so well behaved, and he would ride in her basket of her walker, and she would go all around the community, and he would just hang out in the basket, wouldn't bark or go crazy, just let people, pet him. He was so friendly and sweet. And I've never had such a well-behaved dog, but he was just adorable. And he was just, the light of her life. She just loved that little dog. And I think he helped keep her active. So some other amenities that would be included in assisted living or may be included, beauty salons. And I think probably every one of them has a beauty salon. We did a podcast episode recently called The Importance of Beauty Salons in Assisted Living. And it was a really fun interview. So go back and listen to that one to learn a little more about that. Some will have movie theaters, libraries, gardens, courtyards. There's some where they have like 2 doors to the apartment, one that goes out to the hallway and then another door that opens to a courtyard, or they may have like a balcony or a patio. Fitness centers, chapels, and even some have pools. In the state of Texas, we have 2 types of assisted living. We have a type A and a type B. And what that means is if you live in a type A, you must be able to evacuate the building by yourself. So if you're in a wheelchair, you have mobility issues, you're going to a type B. And I will say most assisted livings are type B. Some assisted livings also have memory care. So they'll have one side as their assisted living, and then they'll have a separate side of the building that is memory care. This is really great if someone moves in and they have some dementia, but as it progresses, they may need additional care. So they would transition over into the memory care. Or if it's a couple and one person has dementia, where they really need to be in memory care, that one can go in memory care, and then the other spouse can go into the assisted living. So it works really well. They're in the same community, and the one in assisted living can go and visit the one that's in memory care. So that works out really well. With assisted living communities, there's all different kinds. So there's some that are super like luxurious and very expensive. And then there are others that are smaller and maybe more homey. It just really is up to you what kind of fits what, kind of fits their vibe, what makes them feel comfortable and makes you feel comfortable when you walk into tour. Also, in assisted livings, you can have healthcare providers come in. There's home health, definitely allowed to come in as well. So like if your mom broke her hip and had surgery and then went to rehab and now has come back to assisted living, she can have physical therapy come to her there where she lives. Also, hospice services are allowed to come in as well. End of life, age in place. So any kind of services like that are welcome. Okay, so you've determined that assisted living is the type of care that you or your senior loved one needs. So great. So what are you going to do next? You're going to tour a few to determine what's going to be the right fit. Like I said, kind of like fits the vibe for your senior family member, and also fits certain things like their budget, the location, area you want to live in. And I did an episode, it's episode 26, it's tips on touring. So be sure to listen to that one before you go out and tour. There's some good tips, questions to ask, and things to look out for. So like I said, you're going to decide on the community after you tour a couple and, find the right one. Then you pick the apartment. And like I said, studio, 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom. Meet with the nurse who works there to do an assessment. So she's going to do the assessment and ask some questions and figure out what they call a plan of care for your family member. And the way it works is there's 2 charges here. So you have the charge for the apartment. So that's, one cost is that. And then the second is going to be whatever they come up as, for the care. So if there's only a few things needed, like medication management and bathing assistance, that's going to be a lower price. But if there's a lot of care needed, like help with transferring and with bathing, dressing, incontinence care, the price could get, pretty high up there. So it's customized for the care that your loved one is going to need. So once that is all figured out, you will be given an admissions packet, and the assisted living community, the people working there, will help walk you through that and help you complete that process. So you work on all that, you've picked out your apartment, you schedule your move-in date, you decide on what furniture you want to bring, because yes, you can bring your own furniture. I get that question all of the time, and you bring your furniture. You make it feel like home to them. Bring pictures, whatever, is going to make them feel like it's their own space. Sometimes you can even paint. Of course, that's, community by community, case by case. So you'd want to ask about that. Okay, so how much does it cost to move into assisted living? That is going to vary. It's going to be based on their level of care, like we mentioned earlier. Your apartment is going to be one cost, and then the care charges are going to be a second cost. So you got to, put those together to figure. I'd say it would vary anywhere from about $4,000 and up. I have seen as high as $10,000 a month, but that was in a very luxurious type assisted living and with a lot of care. So the average I see in my area of Dallas, I'd say about $5,000 to $6,000 a month. How do you pay for it? So it's private pay, and private pay means it's, coming out of their pocket. So that would be anything like Social Security, pension, savings, veterans benefits. There's a great benefit called the VA Aid and Attendance benefit, and it does cover assisted living, sale of a house, long-term care insurance, bridge loan. I've had some families do this where they got a bridge loan, which is a short-term loan that, maybe they were selling a house or liquidating some assets, and that gave them access to some money so that they can move ahead into assisted living. So an example of someone moving to an assisted living, I've worked with several in the last month, but here's one that kind of stands out. I had a couple, and the husband needed to be in assisted living. He needed very little. He, needed help with medication. He wasn't taking his medication properly, and he needed the socialization. He needed the meals, and he probably was going to need some reminders to make sure he was bathing. The wife, on the other hand, had dementia, and it was pretty far advanced, and she needed a lot of care. She was needing help with bathing and dressing, and she was starting to wander, and, it just was not a safe environment at home. So to move into an assisted living with a memory care was a perfect option for this couple. The husband went to assisted living and the wife is in the memory care. So that was a great one for them. Another one that I recently moved in was this really feisty lady. She was like, I think 95, 96, and she had been living in a 55 plus senior apartment with no meals or anything, and she was legally blind and was starting to have some other issues with getting around. So we moved her to an assisted living where, her main needs were meals, housekeeping, laundry service, help with her medications, and, just to get help because of being blind. She needed someone to help her, kind of learn the community so she could get around. So they did some what they call escorting to get her from her apartment to the dining room. So those are two that I just recently worked with, kind of off the top of my head. Assisted living is a pretty popular one. We do probably a good percentage of our families that we work with end up going into assisted living. Well, I hope that helps you kind of learn the difference between the different types of senior housing. I know it can be confusing, and that's kind of our goal, is to really educate you and help you learn all about senior housing and resources. If you need help finding an assisted living community in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, please go visit my website. It's LoriWilliams-SeniorServices.com and complete the contact form, and we'll reach out to you and help you with your search. Also, be sure to check out other resources on the website, including all of the episodes of the podcast. We've got some really great information. Thanks so much for listening, and be sure to share the podcast with your family and friends. We will talk to you next week. Bye.